4, 3, 2.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Watch Me with Emily Galindo. I am your host, Emily, and we are here proving to ourselves and to others that they are wrong. We are wrong. One success story at a time. And we are here with one of the brightest people I know, and that's saying something coming from a lawyer. She is so caring and so wonderful, and I am just super excited that she is here to bestow her story on us. So welcome everybody, Deonee High Easton with High Easton Law.
Thank you. That was so nice.
Oh, look at you. See, the proof. There it is.
Bright today.
You're so bright.
Thank you so much.
I mean that. Like, I think that when people say lawyer, like, it immediately just goes,
yeah.
Like, that's just
with
kind
that
of the
face.
vibe.
Yeah.
Right. But you are not that.
No, I'm not that.
And I love that about you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, before we get into who you are and what you do and all the things, I
Yep.
want to know, I ask every guest the same question. If one person is tuning in right this second and you need to make an impact on them, what message is it that you want them to hear?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Well, I think the biggest message I want to share is tomorrow is not promised. So you need to live and plan for today.
Yeah.
And that's tying in with life, but that's also with my business.
Sure.
So, yep.
Right.
And so, because everything, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to be here. So it's important to make sure that you can live every single day like it's your last.
And where does that come from for you?
Experience.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a huge believer, believe in God. And so I just know that tomorrow's not promised. And so we need to make sure that we can live every single day like it's our last, just because life is unexpected.
It might be.
It is.
I think that, and as I've just turned 40 this year, so
yes, happy birthday again.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Actually, I'm actually really excited about it. Like, this 40 has been great.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. We all just wake up one day and we're like, oh shit, we're not getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
things like retirement planning, finances, law situations,
Yep.
like. And even, I've had a stretch, but like, of not great decision making
Yep.
things. And I think about all the time about like what's going to happen to my daughter if something were to happen to me, and all of the things.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that's really important, and people don't think about it until it's too late, right? Like when life happens, aka somebody passes, somebody becomes incapacitated.
A flash flood hits freaking Kerr County and it wipes out your whole family.
Exactly. It's terrible, and people don't want to think about the unexpected until they have to deal with it. And so what you need to do is try to plan so that way it can eliminate the fear. It can eliminate people feeling that angst, and then you don't have to deal with conflict with your family. I mean, there's so many layers to it that people don't think about until it's too late.
Right. I mean, and having, I guess, like a really great lawyer to ask you some of those questions, because I know that not all lawyers are made the same, and not all estate plans are made the same.
They're not.
But I've heard, like, my mom's a retired attorney, and I've heard some really horrible stories. Like, especially, she really focused on family law and then went into estate law.
Yep.
Like, in family law, like, if you fight, like that, or when she went into estate planning, like, one of the things they would write into it, if you fight, you get nothing. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know if a lot of people think of that, like the amount of turmoil and drama and shit that happens within families over money and assets after your death.
It's so real, and people don't realize it until it's too late. So like, the issue is
Why are
that
people so horrible? I
don't know. I think it's emotions. Emotions really drive how people act, how people think, how they move, and it's just too much, right? Like, it's just too much.
There should be more going on in your life than this one thing.
Right. And the problem is like, when you are dealing with grief, the last thing you want to do is deal with conflict, right? Especially amongst your family members. Everybody, once somebody passes, they instantly want money, right? And it's dangerous, because when they want money, then they act funny, and then they don't know how to move, and then everyone just acts crazy, and then it destroys relationships, it destroys families, and then you can't get that back, because it's like, how do we get back to the underlying we need to be kumbaya family again, because people don't want to do that after they've been hurt deeply. So it's really important to make sure that you can plan ahead, so that way your family can avoid conflict. And ironically, I'm a lawyer, but I hate drama, which is weird.
You're in the wrong field, ma'am.
I think so. But you know what? I'm making an impact within the field, because by doing it this way, I'm eliminating conflict, helping my families eliminate conflict, so that way they can still have their families at the end of the day when something happens to a loved one.
Yeah. How did you get into this?
Oh, man. My story is very interesting.
That's why you got
some time.
I
right?
do. I've got 20 minutes.
Okay, let's have a little bit of time. So,
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a little nuts, and my friends say I'm crazy in the best way possible.
Yes, I get that.
In my family.
Yeah.
Right. That's what makes me special. But it's funny. I ended up going to college at George Washington University. I had the intention of being a forensic scientist.
Like CSI type stuff.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
Yeah.
So obsessed with it,
Okay.
right? To this day, I'm still obsessed with it. So I went there and I was like, I'm going to major in chemistry and minor in criminal justice. Girl, I went to chemistry classes or I didn't go to chemistry classes and I was like, this is not for me.
Right.
So I switched it and I was like, I'll be a criminal justice major and do a minor in chemistry. Wipe chemistry completely because I was like, I can't do this. So then I minored in psychology. I actually wanted to be, then at that point, I wanted to be an FBI agent. Then I realized I don't want to run and like I don't want to be
So
shot
now we're
at.
moving to Criminal Minds like this.
Oh,
like that.
listen. It was a slow progression, but it
Through
was
the
coming.
shows?
It was coming through the
Okay.
shows. Yeah, and I lived through the shows. And then I just decided, that's not for me either. So when I graduated from college, I said to myself, I am going to apply to jobs all throughout the country, and the very first job that I get, I'm gonna go no matter
was
what
your
it is.
plan.
That was my plan.
Okay.
It was a crazy plan because the economy at the time was terrible. So I ended up getting a job as a social worker in Tucson, Arizona. I was a part of a sex abuse unit. I was the youngest one there. It was the biggest life change for me in a way that it still has an impact on me to this day.
Sure.
So that was an experience, and I was doing all of this stuff outside of the courtroom, right? I was helping my kiddos, making sure that they were safe, trying to pour into resources to the family members so that they can get their kids back. And I used to tell my parents, I never want you to see my face again. And that's the best thing I could say, right? Because then that means that they're doing what they're supposed to do to protect their children.
Right.
Girl, I was doing so much. I was in the courtroom, kept writing questions for, direct and cross-examination, and I kept speaking in court when I wasn't supposed to. And all the judges were like, Dee, I think it's time for you to go to law school. Like, if you want to make that much of an impact, you need to go to law school. And I was like, but I don't want to. Because my family, my whole life has been saying, you should be a lawyer. I'm like, I don't want to be a lawyer. But sure enough, I kind of fell into it because God had a plan for me, and he literally just dropped me right in the bucket. So it was beautiful. I then decided to apply for law school. Then I ended up getting my degree at Michigan State University College of Law. That was an experience, and I was so set on being a family law attorney. I'm like, I'm going to make an impact on children. This is what I want to do. And over the course of my career, I ended up having to deal with a lot of death and a lot of incapacitation in ways that I've never experienced in my life. I had about 5 deaths over the course of 3 years.
Wow.
And
family deaths of yours.
Family, close friends.
Yeah.
It was really, really challenging. And
During law school?
Well, during law school, I had to have surgery, but this was right after I had graduated law school. So I had my, she's kind of like an aunt to me. She died first, and then my best friend, old classmate at the time who I'd known since I was 2 years old, he passed. And then my other best friend's father passed, and then afterwards my grandfather passed, and then afterwards, eventually my grandmother passed. So you can imagine during that time when you're trying to study for the bar exam.
Right.
It just was monumental. And so I really understood what it was like to try to live while still trying to grieve and still trying to push forward with my career.
Yeah.
So I truly believe I then fell into estate planning. I fell into probate. I fell into guardianship. And that's kind of what I do now primarily, just because of my life experiences. So that's kind of a very long journey to how I got here.
I think that helps understand. I mean, I think life insurance agents are similar to in that regard, like the good ones, right? It's because of something traumatic. And quite frankly, like on a side note, I was looking at something political the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, you don't change your values or change your perspective on a position until it impacts you directly, right? And that is true, I think, about life in general, right? Like the life experience is key to you being great at what you do, because you know how hard it really can be.
Right. And I still believe in protecting the children, and I do it just in a different way now, because I'm helping the families now plan and protect their children, protect their assets, protect their loved ones, and avoid conflict, which is what I hate to begin with. So it's funny. I still am doing family law in a way, but I've always loved, trust and estates when I was in law school, and now I get to do it full time. So I'm grateful.
Well, having been the child of a family law attorney, I'm going to tell you that's it's not cool. It is so painful on the attorney. Like there's never a good day in court. There's never, because you're ripping a family apart in whatever capacity that looks like, right? Like nobody's ever happy. The children certainly aren't.
Right.
Like the only way my mom was she would call it a child center lawyer, like, and she's like, here's what I want you to do. You're going to pack your shit up and you're going to leave every other week and come home. And parents were like, well, I'm not going to do that. You're like, well, then why the hell would you ask your children to do that? But actually in Washington, they're very progressive. They have homes like that, conversion homes where there's like a locked door that you like open the door and then you can go to your mom's side of the house and you can go to the dad's side of the house or whatever, and they live in the same, so the kids get to live in the same house.
Yeah, and it's wild because when I was doing family law, I used to tell my clients all the time, like, you are never going to be happy. You just have to kind of go with a decision that you can live with.
Yeah.
And that's key. And I mean, I still kind of apply those same principles with my estate planning clients, but the difference is that they can choose to be happy because they have the choice and they have the control to plan for their families after death or incapacitation.
Okay, so I want to do a myth buster. I only need an estate plan if I have stuff.
No.
Like, I don't have anything. Like, I mean, I have a business and whatever right now, but like, I'm broke. You know what I mean?
Listen, you can be broke,
Okay.
but you still have to have a plan.
Okay.
The reason being is, like, I mean, do you have a child?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have a child, that's instantaneously you need a plan, because if something happens to you, where does your child go, right? And especially if you're kind of in a family custody issue, right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to have it go to someone else, have your child go to someone else. And so at that point, you need to be able to plan for your child. So if you have a bank account, if you have a car,
Yeah.
you need a plan,
Okay.
because those are hard things to get if you don't have a plan. Then you have to go to court. You have to go deal with all the things.
And how long does that process typically take?
Ooh, child, it could take a while. It could take a while, depending on the court, depending on the circumstances. But I mean, probate can average out between, I don't know, like 9 months to a year.
And what happens to my car and my kid in those 9 months?
They are at a standstill, which is dangerous, because if you don't have a guardianship designation in place for your child, then that means that your child has to have legal authority input before they can actually do or go anywhere. So they're just kind of stuck, and who wants to keep your child stuck, especially when they're grieving you? That doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
No, I'm just horrified having this, like thinking about what would happen. This is what keeps me up at night, which is why I need to be in your office.
Yep. And people don't think about it, right? Like, and being a social worker, I come from that different angle of it, because I used to be the one taking children, right? Like, if you ended up going to the movies and God forbid you ended up in a car accident, and your child's at home with the babysitter, yeah, you can have emergency contact numbers, but if there's nobody that has a legal authority to say, I'm keeping this child, and she calls the police, aka the babysitter calls the police because they can't get a hold of you, then your child can end up in the system until we get legal authority to get your child out.
So she's going to sit in foster care until somebody can like get legal authority that my mother and father can have her.
Yep. And if the probate court takes a long time, right, then your child is
I want to
stuck.
throw up right now.
That's further traumatizing.
I want to throw up right now.
Right. You're further traumatizing your child,
Yes.
because they're grieving you, or, you know, and even that means if you're like laid up in the hospital, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of attorneys will put a lot of stuff in the wills, but if you don't die, then where does your child go? Because if you're legally incapacitated, you're laid up in a hospital bed, you can't make any decisions. Who then makes decision for your child? You see the danger?
Yes.
Yep. So it's I say that to say, Mythbuster, I'm knocking it out of the park, okay? If you have and you own anything or you love somebody, you can do an estate plan, period.
And what this piece of paper allows is for when the babysitter calls 911 and they come get my kid with you, the social worker, that back then, they come pick her up, and then what's their next step to determine, I do have a plan and we have an answer here?
Well, there's two options, right? If you have a guardianship designation and the police are called, they're going to say, oh, okay, this person actually signed legal documentation saying that they want the child to go
Where
to
do
this
they
person.
get that paperwork from?
They have to get it from the babysitter, but this is why communication is key, right?
Uh-huh.
And people don't think about this. The other thing is they can end up in the foster care system, aka going through the CPS system, which is also very dangerous.
Yeah.
We don't want our kids going through the CPS system if we can help it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you mean the communicate, like telling the babysitter, hey, if anything happens, there's some paperwork on the fridge that you can
That's correct.
Anybody.
That's correct. Because communication, especially with estate planning, is key, because a lot of times people have estate plans, but they do not communicate said estate plans to their family members.
Right. I was just going to say they're like a document that we find in the cabinet after they're dead.
Collecting dust. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole, and you help people understand that there's a whole thing that we have to.
Absolutely. Education is key.
Okay.
And people, like I said, people don't realize until they realize, right? So this is what I try to spread awareness about. It's important to make sure that people know these things. We need to protect your children. We need to protect your assets. And we need to give I say estate planning is a gift because it's a gift to your family members so that they don't have to deal with conflict. They don't have to deal with finding anything, because if you love them, you'll do that for them. Because if you don't, the system is going to be brutal when you go to court, right? Because you have to hire an attorney in Texas. You have to pay, obviously attorneys are expensive. I hate to say that they aren't, but they are.
Yep.
Then you have to deal with time. You could be dealing with conflict. So there's so many layers involved, and there's no guarantee that you're going to get what you think you're going to get, because if the law says it's a default law that everything is going to go to certain people, and if, let's say you hate your brother, let's say I'm the one who's going to pass, right? Sorry, my brother. If you're listening, I promise I don't hate you. But let's say I didn't want anything to go to my brother. If I don't create a plan, by default, things are going to go to my brother if I don't have either family members. Why would I want to do that, right?
Right.
So it's just creating more conflict if you don't plan. So we want to make sure that we can plan so we can eliminate that conflict and make it easier on your family members.
I met a woman long years ago in networking that I really enjoyed what she did, but it was some sort of like book, cloud, something or other that had like, it was a safe space that had like 100-year cloud sort of thing that you could, all of the documents, all of like your passwords, and like you could just store it all in there for forever until somebody needs. So that way nobody's like going through all of your stuff, trying to find all these things or whatever. Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've heard of it. I mean, a lot of things, it's great for a lot of people, but in terms of technology, right? We have a lot of older people that may not feel comfortable with technology. So you have to make sure that this is the beauty of individuality, right? Every estate plan is going to be something different, and you need to set estate plan to each person based on their value system, based on their personality, based on what their limitations are. So I think that's great, because you want to make sure that there's always a backup to the backup.
Right.
And so it's good to have an attorney who's willing and wanting to be involved in not just your life, but even your family member's life. So that way there's a clear line of communication when it comes to actually helping the families get past when somebody has passed away, and getting through the probate process if need be, or just kind of helping with the administration if there's a trust.
There will be.
Yeah.
There will be a trust.
Oh, good. We like trust.
Well, not yet. There isn't. There will be. There will be. I promise.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
5 years.
Yep.
Maybe.
Less than that.
But less than that?
Because tomorrow's not promised. We got to make sure we do the trust like ASAP.
Oh.
You see how?
I like that. Okay.
Tie it back in there.
Believe we're working on a trust today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Tell Rick. Get me excited. So tell me about, like, we've got a few minutes left, and what happens if we don't? I mean, you gave me my version where I want to throw up on the table, but like, was there something out of those 5 that you were like, that actually pushed you into estate planning? You were like, this is not going to happen to my family ever again, or anything like that in one of those 5 situations?
There were so many situations. It's not even funny, but I'll give the last one that had a huge impact on me. My grandfather and my grandmother, they passed probably within, it was like 2 years of one another. And my grandfather did not have any estate plan in place, nothing whatsoever. My mom has 6 brothers and sisters, and she's one of 7. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine, I mean, they all get along for the most part, but there's some times that people are not going to agree. Can you imagine 7 people sitting around a table trying to figure out what to do with different assets and all these things? So that happened with my grandfather. And then, unfortunately, the plans were not put in place by the time my grandmother died. So, we thought that the family would learn the first time. And I was trying to help, but I can only do so much because I'm not licensed in that state. And so it's one of those things. My grandmother was about to go to hospice, and we had to make a decision about what to do. And unfortunately, I believe that there was a medical power of attorney, but it was not where we needed it to be. And so obviously the hospital is not going to be able to implement anything without having any legal documentation. So me and my 7 aunts and uncles and my mother, we sat around a round table trying to figure out what to do with my grandmother. You can imagine when we're sitting here trying to grieve over the fact that she's about to pass, having those really, really hard conversations and dealing with the potential conflict that comes about, it was just a nightmare.
And then does anybody even get to make that decision? I mean, if there is no medical power of attorney, you guys can collaborate all you want, but nobody gets to walk up to the doctor and go, so this is what we've decided. They'd be like, cool, you're a she's an adult and you're an adult.
Only time that can happen is if every single one of the heirs agrees. So it took us a while to have that conversation, but because they were all able to agree by the grace of God, we were able to make that decision. But if my grandmother had signed a medical power of attorney, then one person would make that decision and it wouldn't have impacted every single one of us to that day. So seeing the implications of all of that, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of different life experiences when it comes to estate planning and probate and even guardianship, right? So it shook me. And so I decided, I said, you know what? I've been doing estate planning the entire time during my legal career, but I said, this is something I need to focus on. It's important.
Yeah. I mean, and I think one of the pieces, at least given that my age range and who I'm surrounded by, that people don't understand is for people who have children who are just turning 18 and going off to college. The second they get into a car accident or whatever, you're not being called. You're not being asked for information. And in fact, they won't be giving you any.
That's correct.
You as the mother who's freaked out standing in the hospital hallway or whatever, if they'll even tell you what room he's in because he's an adult.
Yep.
Like you have no access to them whatsoever.
Not anymore. And everybody has that misconception, right?
I'm the mom. I'm clutching my chest. I'm so upset.
Right. I'm the mom. I need to make the decisions. I've been doing it their whole life. But guess what? The minute they become an adult, it's done. So that's why it's important to have medical power of attorneys, durable power of attorneys for your children, because once they go off to college, you want to still be able to make that decision. But it's
if they will allow it, right? Like
right. I mean they have
to,
they have to sign for it. But I mean, like, let's be real. Most times the kids are like, yeah, mom, you can still make the decisions for me if I'm incapacitated. I'm not able to do it.
Right.
And if they don't, then I'm so sorry.
You might want to look at that.
Yeah. I would have a nice little conversation with your kids and say, hey, let's continue this nice relationship.
Figure out how you got into this situation that your children want you to not make decisions for them anymore.
Yep. It's bad. Like I said, you don't realize until you're in that situation, and we want to avoid that at all costs. For every single person that I can get in and talk to and have in front of my face, I want to say, you need to get an estate plan. Please save your families. It's important. It's important.
I'm like, can we end this so that we can go start these things? Because I do. I think about it when I'm driving. I think about it when I'm flying, when I'm, gone from her for too long. I'm like, oh my God, what would happen?
Right. And like I said, it's sad, because I know somebody recently who.
Thank you for adding, to my anxiety that I hadn't even considered her going to CPS or foster care or anything. But we can add that to my anxiety list.
Welcome. Why? I wouldn't be me if I didn't do that, right? I have to educate as much as possible.
She went to some other horrible place, but that wasn't one of them.
Yeah. We need to avoid CPS at all costs. But no, it's really sad because you can never be too young to kind of think about it, because you also want to consider doing medical power of attorneys for your children even when they are under 18. Here's why. If you're away and something happens to you, somebody needs to be able to have the authority until there's like legal authority. So there's different layers involved to make sure we can protect your kids. But there's a woman that I know who literally just turned 40 and she had a brain aneurysm and she had nothing in place. And so the trauma that created for her family members during and after, it was just monumental. So it's just important to make sure we plan. I'm so sorry, but happy 40th birthday. I promise I'm fun. I know. Promise.
That's why I'm like, you were supposed to be bright and shiny.
I am bright and shiny. I'm bright and shiny because we still have the opportunity to plan. That's what makes it bright. I was just going to
say, so all this really terrible shit is possible to happen, but it's okay because I'm here with a plan and I'm going to save it.
Yes, you are. See, look at the bright line. Find the shining star. But that's important. I mean, I'm great at parties. I mean, you should see me when I start going.
Yeah.
Start flowing.
Yeah. Like, what a great way to get clients. You just scare the shit out of them.
Just a little bit. But the good thing is my personality is so great, so they feel safe.
100%.
That's what we need to have. And that's
100%.
why I'm so bubbly, because I have to be, because I'm dealing with darkness all the time.
Yeah. You did say that at our meeting last week. You're like, this story is really dark. And I'm like, and after having this conversation, I'm like, do we have any... Nothing horrible happened and I saved the day before anything bad ever happened.
Yeah, but that brings so much brightness to me. You have no idea. Like, when I am able to help my clients, especially before they pass away, like at the drop of the hat, it brings me so much joy because I know what the impact can be if we didn't have it done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So if, let's see, if you have a small child, or if you have a child, you have a car, you're on your deathbed, or you have a child that's about to turn 18. These are all like immediate needs to talk to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or, you know, someone that's passed away, because I'd be happy to help them through the probate process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the guardianship, you know, if
I know,
someone's
but that
legally
involves so
incapacitated.
much conflict. You don't really want that.
You know what? It brings me joy to help people through that conflict.
I know, but when we talk about so you missed the meeting on Friday, but the ideal client profile, like that brings more drama to your life than joy.
It does, but I get joy when I know that I'm helping people through that conflict.
Okay.
You know, look at that. You're talking to a lawyer here. I mean,
I know, she can wordsmith me all the way around. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all this amazing stuff, because while it is dark, it is going to happen. I mean, maybe not the brain and ears inside, but we're all going to die.
Yes.
And we all have stuff and loved ones in our lives.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
if you don't want the state of wherever you live deciding where all those things go and those experiences that they'll have,
Yep.
they need an estate plan.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Well, with that, we need to have drinks and hang out at a party at some point in time.
I won't tell all my dark stories. Don't worry.
Thank you. All right. You guys, Deonee High Easton is amazing. She's with High Easton Law Firm. Please, her contact information is in the show notes. Reach out to her if you love your family, and I know that you do. So with that, go be bright today with all of this darkness. It should be easy. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.